Welcome back to The Grind. In this video, we're going to go through the static blast lane in Act 7.2 quest number 1. If you have an armor up buff, it'll reduce the amount of power that is drained and the amount of power that is burned. And if you're using a hero champion, then having multiple of them will increase that effect even more. So this lane is not too bad. You don't have to use heroes and you don't have to use champions that have armor ups. And honestly, sometimes champions that aren't that way are better. This lane also has flare, so you will be taking damage over time, but you will also be having a lot more damage output. So I found that champions that did not rely on special attacks worked really well, or champions that had very strong special attacks and also had ways to prevent the opponent from using special attacks. So Dr. Doom can control the fight very well, can prevent them from using special attacks, and can build up to his own special attacks very quickly, so he actually works very well for this lane. Now the next one is Agent Venom, so I brought in Apocalypse, so I didn't have to worry about him shrugging off my stuns and making the fight go slower, because with that flare, you really have to be aggressive and keep the fight going at a faster pace. Now Apocalypse doesn't have any other specific ways to counter the node, but he just pushes a champion up and uses a special attack as soon as he can. If you let the opponent throw a special attack, as you just saw there, you'll lose power, but that's okay. Ideally though, you do want to try to throw your specials as quick as you can before they use their specials. So holding block can discourage the opponent from throwing specials, but it does not always work. However, with the flare node, you'll still put out some high damage output. Now there is a Havok on this lane, so you will want a Havok counter. Warlock works very great for this, especially because Warlock is able to heal. But here you're gonna see, if you get hit by the special attack, right on activation, you'll lose power, but every time you get hit, you'll also lose more power and be power burned. So you'll take some damage from that as well. So ideally you want to avoid getting hit and altogether avoid them throwing special attacks. But because Warlock is able to heal off the special 3, he's also a great option for flare in general, because you can outlast the flare degeneration and then you won't have to worry about dying. But overall, any Havok counter should be fine as long as you can deal enough damage to get through the fight. Now I still had some health left on Apocalypse, so I decided to bring him in with the class advantage against Blade, knowing that if I didn't finish off the fight fully, I would have other champions to finish it off. And unfortunately, we did not make it through the whole fight. We did make some mistakes, took some extra unnecessary damage, so we did not kill him in that one shot, but we just brought Warlock in to finish off the fight and then continued moving along down the lane. The next fight is Domino, and I brought Guardian specifically for Domino because I really hate fighting Domino, and I felt like I needed a champion specifically set aside to play against Domino. And Guardian is a good champion to use against Domino, so just keep that in mind, whatever champion you think you'll need. Basically what my plan was to just build up to a special 1, so I had to discourage her from throwing special attacks in order to make that happen. And then I would throw off my special attack before and then bait out her special attack so that she wasn't able to drain my power later on. And then going in again, building up as much power as I can. As soon as she has enough power for a special attack, I just play more defensive, back off early and hold block to discourage her from throwing her special attacks, and then going in as much as I can and trying to stay aggressive because of the time limiting factor with that flare degen. Then we throw off a special 2 and it almost gets her down. Then we just have to finish her off with some basic attacks. But overall, the fight wasn't too bad. Just bring whatever counter you have for Domino that you're most comfortable playing and take advantage of that increased damage output. Do your best to prevent her from draining your power with her special attacks, but mostly just play it safe because she can be a real pain if you misplay. Now this fight against Ultron, I think I brought the wrong champion. Hyperion is a solid champion for flare nodes, but against Hyperion, with that really long heavy attack animation, Ultron can evade the final hits, and that can really throw a wrench into your run. And so perhaps a different champion for this fight would have been ideal. It really slowed the fight down with him evading and interrupting everything, and then he would evade and throw a special attack and then drain my power. So this fight did not go very well for me. I did end up dying and having to finish with different champions. I would say that it would be better to use a champion that can deal most of the damage during the parry stun, or doesn't rely on special attacks as well, and maybe even an evade counter. But that's really it. This is the last fight on the path. I did end up finishing off the fight with Warlock, but we won't really watch the rest of it because we're not really going to gain a whole lot out of this. Let me know what your thoughts are on this lane, if you have any other ideas for better counters for some of these fights, which champions you used. But as always, I do hope that this video was helpful. Check out my other guides for Act 7.2 and other champion guides in the playlist that I have. But otherwise, good luck, and I hope to see you in the next video.